This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Spotlight. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and holy shit, do we have one hell of a star returning to Can Crushers. Yes, returning to Can Crushers is the physical specimen, Spencer Slade. You guys want to talk about somebody who's had a hell of a year, even during the pandemic. This guy has crushed the wrestling business. Appearing in OVW, appearing in Tennessee, Alabama, one of them I'm not sure, I'll have to ask him, appearing on AEW, Spencer freaking Slade. He's a former Imagine champion, but I believe he's going to climb that mountain to get that title back, and we're going to talk a little bit about that with him. But it's all about what happens this Saturday. Spencer Slade is going to be taking on the X Division champion from Impact, Josh Alexander. We've seen Josh Alexander in IWC before, but this is going to be his toughest test in IWC because the physical specimen had not rested during the pandemic. No disrespect to any other wrestler out there, but Spencer Slade has worked his ass off in the 6 months when the pandemic was closing everything. Spencer Slade came back like a freaking monster and took the wrestling business by storm. I can't wait to talk to him. We have to go way back to even the end of 2020 when he won the Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic Championship. He waves that trophy around all over the place. Guys, you will be able to see this match this coming Saturday on the IWC Network for only $9.99. Yeah, you subscribe to the IWC Network for $9.99 a month, and you're going to see Spencer Slade taking on Josh Alexander this Saturday. Man, I can't wait to talk to Spencer. A lot has happened, and we just need to dive into everything. But first, we always have to do one other thing. We have to talk about Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, you guys know the rest of this stuff. Al Snow produces amazing wrestling apparel. I have my classic Collar and Elbow gray shirt on right now that is comfortable. You guys know I have a million other ones. The Blue World Order, the Macho Man one, the Dusty Rhodes one, I have them all. Maybe not them all. And my favorite hoodie as well. Go to collarandelbow.com, okay? When you get done purchasing everything you want to purchase, there's going to be a little box that says promo code. All you have to do is type in the word Can Crushers. All one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, and you get 10% off. That's awesome. That really is. All right, here comes Al Snow. When we come back, we'll have Spencer Slade on the line to talk about this last essential year and a half where he has crushed the business when it's been weak. Here comes Al, then Spencer. That's how it works.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, the Spotlight Edition. And there's no time to beat around the bush because we have the returning. And let me say, you are the first returning person ever to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, the 2020 Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic champion, the physical specimen. I hope to say, my friend, Spencer Slade. Spencer, how the hell have you been?
Man, I have been great. If that's even if that's an understatement, I have had probably one of the best years of my life in wrestling. I've been so blessed and fortunate lately, and I can't wait to talk and share it with you, my buddy Mark. Can't wait.
Nice. There you go. It's official. We're buddies. I love that. I love it. So it has been about a year since you've been on the show, and it's been a crazy year, but like you just said, it's been so eventful for you. So let's do a rewind real quick. When we last talked, the pandemic just started. It literally just started, and how did you get through that 3 to 4 months when there was literally nothing, Spencer?
Yeah, that was. I actually was able to get through it, pretty darn easily without obviously not being able to physically wrestle a match. It was hard, but the pandemic didn't really affect me everywhere else. You know, I still went down to the facility by myself to train. I still had a gym that that I could work out at. The owner gave me the key to. So I was just doing what Spencer Slade does, man. He watches wrestling, eats right, and trains hard. So. I always knew when the pandemic started, I always knew that there was going to be a lot of guys that would just fall off the wagon because they would get lazy and sit around and do nothing. But I knew, it didn't affect me. I'm going to continue to keep my nose to the grindstone and push myself to be the best wrestler that I could be. And because of that, I had 2020 was the best year of my life in wrestling, and 2021 is getting only better.
For sure. We bounced back to 2020, and you win probably, in your eyes, the most coveted thing that you could win because it is the Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic. It's not an entertainment championship. It's nothing like this. This is a legit trophy that says you were number one in 2020 in pro wrestling. How did that make you feel, a couple months after this damn pandemic?
That absolutely, it made me feel good, but, I always knew that I would win it just because I'm a confident person, man. I knew that all that hard work that I put in, especially during a pandemic when everybody else, like I said, was getting complacent, I always knew that I'd win it, because hard work always pays off. It might not pay off in the exact way that you want, but it will always pay off. So when I won that Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic trophy, it was just, for me, it was great because I could take it now and show people and put it in people's faces and let them know that there isn't a damn thing that they could do about it. And I've said it from the start of my wrestling. I told myself and I tell everybody that I am currently the best wrestler from Pittsburgh besides Kurt Angle. And that's how I truly feel. And I think you're gonna see that when we talk, this Saturday at the IWC show. But I left 2020 showing people that 2021 is going to be Spencer Slade year. It's going to be the year that he gets signed, and it's also going to be, the year where I show everybody that once again I am the best wrestler from the city of Pittsburgh besides Kurt Angle.
And you are. You currently are, without a doubt. You said you put in a lot of hard work, and you said, kind of beating around the bush, that you had a homeboy that would let you into the gym and everything. With no wrestling, were you in the gym 12 hours? Because, Spencer, when you came back after this pandemic, and I'm not saying you were never fit, because it's always fear the gear, but you have a 24-pack, not a 12-pack anymore. You have, 24-inch pythons now. I mean, you came back amazing. Scott Steiner, on the things that he did, you exceeded that by yourself just pounding away.
Yeah, you know what? And I told myself, during that time, I'm in great condition, but you could always better yourself physically and mentally. And I knew that probably for 3 to 4 months that I wasn't going to be seen by anybody. Nobody was going to see me. And what better way to do a transformation than to grind and get in the best shape of your life during that time. So then when you do return, people will be blown away by how you look because of all the hard work that you put in. And to me, and I know people, people say I look more leaner and shredded and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's just me staying ready. The best quote I've ever heard was, "You don't ever have to get ready, stay ready." So once again, when pandemic hit, that's all I did was just stay ready.
Did the pandemic give you a little time though to heal up any bumps and bruises and kind of just relax? I mean, I know you're always gym ready and ready in the ring, but was it a nice little break to hang with the family?
Yes, it was. It was definitely a nice break to be able to be around your family more, which was great. But for me, one thing about me is I hate relaxing, because when I start relaxing, I start feeling complacent. And when I start feeling complacent, I always think, okay, well, there's another wrestler out there who's not signed yet, but is putting in work right now, and I'm not. I don't ever want to be in a situation where I feel that I didn't work hard enough that day, or I'm relaxing. So once again, every single day during the pandemic, I told myself, what can I do today that will make me a better wrestler tomorrow? And my schedule was pretty much the same. I would work out, go to the ring, and watch wrestling. I mean, pretty much the top 3 things that you would do to get better. So, during the pandemic was a little bump in the road, but it really didn't affect me one bit.
But you also were doing something, in no disrespect to anybody in any locker room that I personally know, but you were also doing marketing, which a lot of people weren't. I mean, you were still very active on social media, at least saying, hey, I'm eating a Nutrigain bar or something like that. I mean, you lately stayed active everywhere where other people did the hush. That's part of you traveling all over the United States as well.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Especially being a wrestler like myself. You're your own brand. Nobody, unless if you're signed to WWE or AEW, where they have somebody that will promote you and manage all your social media. When you're at an independent level, you have to be in charge of yourself. Nobody's going to put content out for you. Nobody's going to put good publicity out for you. So you have to be an advocate for yourself. So I told myself that I'm going to put out as much content as I can to show people what I'm about, what I'm up to, and really that's really how you make your name, by putting content out there. Because it's you want people to know that you're up to something. You don't want people to think, oh well, this guy he hasn't posted in months. Well, I don't think he's up to anything. You want to be busy, having stuff posted. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. The last time we spoke, like I said, over a year ago, you were, and this is a long-winded question, so hear me out. You were kissing babies and shaking hands and really excited to see everybody in the world. Some may say that you have a heel turn in you. I personally say you're finally, and underline finally, Spencer, because you know how we're boys, you're finally taking what you deserve.
Absolutely.
How does it feel, though, to get the boos, though, now? Like, they don't understand your mentality.
No, they and I'll say it right now. What you see in Spencer Slade right now is exactly who Spencer the person is. I'm not playing a character. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. I really am who I am, and that's what you're seeing right now. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. I've always been doubted since I was a kid because of my deafness and my hearing disability. People have always told me that I couldn't accomplish things because of my hearing loss. Whether I told people that I would be a wrestler, and they would tell me, oh, no, you're never going to do that, or I would succeed in sport. So That's exactly what you see in Spencer Slade. You see this wrestler that has a huge chip on his shoulder to be the absolute best. And I know how far I've come in my life, you know. I know what it was like being that 8, 9-year-old kid that had some depression because he was getting picked on, but he found wrestling and told himself that he'd be a wrestler. And every time that I wake up, I never ever forget about that kid. So that's why you see an aggressive Spencer Slade. You see the same exact Spencer Slade that you would see whether if he was playing a certain sport, because I take pride in being a very competitive person, and I'm not going to let anybody or fans or anybody tell me that I can't do something. And that's what you're seeing right now here in IWC. You're seeing who Spencer Slade truly is, and it's only going to get bigger and better from now on out.
And you kind of answered the question. So do you think that that chip on your shoulder is giving you the edge up on your competition in the ring? One that I can talk about is Cole Carter a lot.
Sure.
Okay. You guys had a hell of a series in IWC, and it came down to your match, a submission match, and you just made him say goodbye.
You're absolutely right. You know, and one thing about me, like I said, I'm a very honest person. I don't sugarcoat anybody. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. You know, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. Part of being a man is giving and taking somebody's honest opinion. You know, when Cole first started training, you know, I took a look at him because he kind of listened to what I told him about dedicating your life to this. And that's fine and dandy, but you know, when you start thinking that you're, you know, better than me or that you're more competitive than me, that's where you're wrong. That's where you cross the line. And you've seen that at the submission match. You know, I had to teach the little you know, overly confident, cocky young baby face. You know, you're good, but you're not on Spencer Slade's level, and you never will be on Spencer Slade's level. And that's what you saw at that match. A lot of people thought that was one of the best matches they've seen. It was definitely a great submission match. I had to do a lot to make him to tap him out, or I made him pass out. But that's exactly what happens at the end, because you know, when it's deep in a match, I'm always thinking about, you know, oh, what would that, you know, I got to do this for that 8-year-old kid, Spencer Slade. I'm never quitting. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's exactly what you saw in that match. And, you know, best of luck to Cole Carter. You know, he's going to have a great career. He can go, and he is confident and as cocky as he wants around anybody else in wrestling. But when he's around me, it's not going to get the job done. But hey, man, there's room for second place, man. Everybody can come in second, but you gotta be right behind me.
So much came out of that. Let me stay with the Cole Carter aspect, and then I'll rewind to something you said like 2 minutes ago. But you have respect for him, right? I mean, it's not like you don't respect what the kid's doing. He's just never going to be on your level.
Correct. Yeah. You know, he, like I said, he's doing a lot of great things early on in his career, you know, which is great. But, you know, when you say my name and talk about, you know, shutting me up or saying stuff like that, you know, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You know, you don't know the Spencer Slade's life story. You don't know why he's so confident, why he has that chip on his shoulder. I almost feel like that's an insult to that 8-year-old kid. So that's why I take it personally. And the reason why I take it personally is because I take this business seriously. You know, this isn't entertainment to me. This is a sport. And that's why my mindset of wrestling is a lot different than most guys in the indies, because you have to treat this real like a sport if you want to be successful, because the best matches out there are between the two most competitive guys and the guys that have the two biggest egos, because it's good to have an ego because you have to want to be the best. And that's exactly what happened to Cole. You know, he said I had a huge ego, and he was right. And my huge ego helped me get the job done. So, but anyways, if Cole Carter's listening, man, best of luck to you, kid.
Best of luck to you, kid. I agree. When we spoke, like I said, about 5 minutes ago now, you said this is the real Spencer Slade. So my thoughts go back to March 18th when our last podcast dropped between me and you, and I brought up, you love the fans and you were shaking hands and kissing babies. Was that a gimmick then? Was that you, because you said this is the real Spencer Slade, was that you just trying to get into the business?
That was more like that was like Spencer Slade still testing waters, trying to find himself. I always there's little kids out there that look up to me. That's great. I'll do everything I can to be a role model for them, do what I got to do. If I have fans after the show or anything like that, anybody that's a fan of me, I got your back. I'll do anything for you. But it's the people out there that boo me or that have not cheered me yet. I've been in wrestling now for almost 2 years now, and there's a lot of people out there that know what I've been up to but have yet to support me. Those are the people that I'm against right there. Those are the people that I don't really particularly care for, because to me, I view those people as the same people that have doubted me when I was a kid. So that's why I have I like to go towards the little kids that support me, and then if there's the middle-aged guys that don't like me, that's even better, because those are really the people that I consider the enemy. So, and once again, it's today's a very negative world. There's a lot of jealousy and insecurity is a huge thing, and I really do believe there's a lot of people out there that are jealous of me because I didn't let my hearing disability stop me from chasing my dream. I didn't let that stop me from being the best person that I could be. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that never chased their dream because of fear, or they had all these excuses for why they couldn't do something. So then when they see a guy like me who's doing the complete opposite of what they did, the first thing that happens is they get jealous and insecure. And that's usually the people that haven't supported me yet. That answers your question. If you would have saw me through the phone right now, I'm nodding my head the whole time saying, I completely agree with you, because come on, let's pull down the fourth wall between me and you. I've always been a fan. I've been on your side. And I told you, I don't see it as a heel turn or a chip on your shoulder. You're just taking what you deserve, because you deserve it. I'm a heel. I'm a heel to certain people, and I'm a good guy to certain people. So I don't know what you would call that, but that's really who I am, And I'm in such a weird and such a weird situation here in wrestling, to where I can be a role model to a lot of young kids because they see somebody that never quit on their dream. But then I can also be like I said, I can also be enemy to, other people that have quit on their dream and live their life with excuses. So I'm in this a weird boat here, because once again, all I really care to do is to show people out there, especially young kids or anybody out there that's thinking about quitting on their dream or that. Don't quit on your dream, because if this little deaf kid from a tiny town in Pennsylvania can accomplish his dream of being a wrestler and getting to a major wrestling company, then you could do the same thing. But it's just, once again, when there's people out there that don't have that same mindset, they're the same people that probably aren't going to support you. So that's kind of where I stand.
Right. You said it, and I went back and I listened to the last podcast, so we don't get the same questions and everything. You said it, and I kind of poked fun at you. You're not a good guy. You're not a bad guy. You just want to be the guy. And I said, okay, so you're Roman Reigns all of a sudden, because that's his shtick. But if you're going to be Roman Reigns, that's a perfect person to be right now.
Absolutely, and I think we talked about it back then. It's the same thing with John Cena. All the little kids like Cena because that's who you want to be in life. You want to be the most successful at what you do. But then why do all the men boo Cena? Because they wish they could be him. They wish they had the drive, the work ethic to be Cena. Same thing with Roman Reigns. It's basic human nature. Is like I said, there's a lot of people out there that are jealous of. Yeah, exactly. And it's just weird that most parents where most middle-aged people are the jealous ones versus the little kids who always look up to the people that are being more successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. The little kids don't know what jealousy is yet. They just know
Exactly.
this guy has a passion, and I want to have his passion for whatever he's doing.
Exactly. And this is what's, the great thing about pro wrestling for me is because I get to share my story. And not only that, I get to do some motivational speeches because I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction. You know, you attract, what the energy you put out there is what you're going to get. If you believe in yourself and you think you're going to accomplish something, then you are. If you don't, then you're not. It's point blank, period. And there's another thing too. There's any young kids listening. For some reason, and this is where I'm going to get deeper into like my motivation. Young kids, when they're young kids, they're always told, oh, you can dream and be whatever you want to be. But then the minute they start growing up, going to middle school, high school, this or that, it's the complete opposite. People are now telling you what you have to do with your life. You have to go to school. You have to get this job. You have to do that. No, you do what you've wanted to do, what you're so passionate about. And that's exactly how I live my life. If there's people out there, there's just a lot of people out there that do not have a goal or a dream, and they just live their life every single day. If that's how you want to live your life, great. But me, no. Life's too short to not try to chase your dream. And that's the message and that's the reason why I truly think that I'm the good guy to the little kids and why I'm the bad guy to the people that, quit on their dream.
Yeah. Let me say this. We spoke a little bit prior to this interview, and I need to have you on to motivate me all the time because you really are. You're kind of like an alpha male, and we spoke about, issues in the past, but now I'm taking this endeavor that there's an opportunity for me to grow deeper into the business. And hell, my family doesn't even know that I pulled the trigger on this. You are the first one to know. And I'm like, I got to do it. It's the time. It just came across an Instagram post, and I'm like, I got to do it. Boom, let's go. And hopefully, it all works out without giving out details or anything. It all works out. And that person, I believe in my heart of hearts, is going to give me that extended hand to get deeper into the business.
Absolutely. And that's something for you, Mark. You're taking that first step to really, really accomplish what you want. That's the most important thing when you try to do something you've never done is take that first step. You learn and grow as most as a human being when you get out of your comfort zone, and that's exactly what you're doing here, Mark. You're a passionate wrestling fan. You've been a wrestling fan your whole life. It's about damn time that you get in the business. So let me be, without breaking any news here, let me be the first wrestler here to officially congratulate you and being part of the wrestling business. And I look forward to it, and I can't wait to see what happens. And tell all your fans and people listening to stay tuned. Stay tuned for sure, because I'm really excited about it.
Let's talk about your year now, because 2020, we're going to stop saying pandemic because we're done with that. But you were just like new into the business, and when you came on, bring down the fourth wall again, we talked a little bit, and I said, hey, I kind of know some people in OVW. And I'm not patting myself on the back because you did the work. I just made a phone call. You end up at OVW. And then, holy Christ, Spencer, you end up all over the freaking United States in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I got to give you a big thank you for doing the whole OVW thing. I was definitely very fortunate you did that. And so 2020 was a great year. I'll go back. So during the pandemic, when we started wrestling some shows, I had 3 of the best matches I've ever had in my career against Big Time Bill Collier for the Imagine Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I think those are some of the best independent matches that you're ever going to see. And then I had a huge match against Brian Pillman Jr. for the Super Indy title that in November. I did those OVW shots, and then I won the Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic to, I believe, to close the year. And then we finally get into 2021, which is, if that's what you want to talk about next. But 2020, like I said, was I couldn't have had a better year after the pandemic. It was exactly what I expected because, once again, when you're out there grinding, hustling, and chasing a dream, good things, they just happen. I can't really explain it. It's just things just fall into place for, people that are always ready. And that's exactly what happened in 2020. Great things happened to me because I was ready and I made myself enough of an asset to get those opportunities.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the OVW one. You had matches there, but did you get time to hang around Al Snow and bend his ear and everything? Because, Al and I are boys. How much did you learn from him being there?
I learned quite a few. Al's a great guy. He took a liking to me. He likes body guys. He likes guys.
Loves body guys.
Because he's from the era where the guys protected and took the business seriously. So I had a blast talking to Al. He actually came up and did a seminar for Imagine Wrestling back during this past summer, back in I think June or July. So that was fun to talk to him too. So I had nothing but great things from Al Snow.
I've told this story a million times. When I went down to the OVW first combine, I got invited, full house. Here's the keys to OVW, Mark. Do what you want. And I got to sit in during one of their training sessions. And I'm not going to tell you what they did in the training. You know what happens in trainings. Fans know. But Al gave them like a 10-minute water break. Okay, we're on hour number 3. Al finally gives them a 10-minute water break, and they sit in the ring, and then he just starts regurgitating anything out of his mouth. And my eyes open up. I'm like, holy shit, they're learning more in this 10-minute water break than they are taking bumps and bruises in the ring, because he's just like, psychology, marketing, psychology. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was more excited about that than watching you guys do hip tosses or anything,
Yeah, it's always, when you talk to a veteran like him, you learn the most from the stories they tell because, they've been there, done that, seen that. They've already seen everything. So they can tell you what they've done wrong and how you could do that to not make the same mistake. And that's really, and that's really the most important thing is, when an old timer like him talks about psychology, because you're getting the best learning right there, learning from somebody that's been somewhere, that's been on television, that's been a star. So anytime that I'm ever in a locker room where there's a former vet like him, I always go there to talk to him, pick his brain, ask him questions, because at the end of the day, that's the only way that you learn, by talking to people that have more experience than you.
Right. OVW was a stop, and talk about some other places before we talk about the big one. And you know what I'm talking about. What other places did you go? I saw this past weekend you were up in the New England states, right?
Yes, sir. I made my debut for New England All-Star Wrestling. I probably had the best time of my life up there. New England, Boston is a place that I've always wanted to go up and break myself into. I'm not going to give away too many details of what happened at the show, but when the show does become available on the Fight TV network, I think you guys are going to be blown away by what I did in my debut. And that's a promotion that I will be appearing for regularly. It's ran by a great promoter named Caleb Seltzer up there, who's done some previous stuff with the Ring of Honor. And I once again, I had a blast up there, and I can't wait to actually, their next show is going to be Friday, June 11th. So I'll be flying up there Friday, June 11th, and then flying back early Saturday morning so I can make it in time for IWC Reloaded right there in Elizabeth. So I made my debut up there. The week before, I was down in Hazel Green, Alabama, wrestling a guy named Larry D from Impact for a company called Racket City Championship Wrestling, which I've been wrestling for them since January of this past year. And then from there, it was making a couple trips down to AEW for their Dark and Dark Elevation. And then right now, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I really, truly believe that I'm going to get signed somewhere by the end of the summer at the earliest. So I'm pretty much my time between, IWC, Imagine, New England All-Star Wrestling, and then whichever other opportunity presents itself.
I must have had it wrong. Did you go to Tennessee as well? Or was Tennessee what I thought was Alabama?
Yeah, no, that was, so I would always, it was get down to the Alabama border. It was in a little called Hazel Green, Alabama.
Okay.
So I would always fly into Nashville and then drive from there to Alabama, since it's right on the right on the border.
Okay. Yeah, because don't forget, I stalk you. Not in a bad way.
And oh, by the way, I did win their Southern Heavyweight Championship back in February. Unfortunately, lost it the next show, but I could say that I went down there and won a title. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Pre-pandemic, and I don't know this, so this is a shoot. We were talking about a possible WWE tryout. Did that happen? Because I don't know if I saw something, or was that shut down because of the pandemic?
No, that's one thing right now that's still fueling my fire right now is my WWE tryout. It absolutely never happened. So I had never had a WWE tryout yet. I was supposed to try out for the WWE all the way back in December of 2019, when I was about 4 or 5 months in the business, is when I first got invited to try out. And then they put half of the people in the December tryout and then half of the people in the March tryout. I got picked to go in the March tryout. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and then they kind of died down on tryouts, and I have yet to get a WWE tryout. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's okay, because I've had all this extra time to get better as a wrestler. And I really think that, after this Josh Alexander match, I really, really think that WWE is going to be aggressive in trying to get a hold of me, because I'll say it again, I believe that I am the best unsigned wrestler right now. It's only a matter of time until a bigger company makes the best business decision ever by signing me, because they're going to get a young, hungry guy who wants nothing more than to succeed. And this is his lifelong childhood dream, and he'll do whatever it takes to be a successful star in national television, whether it's AEW, Ring of Honor, NXT, Major League Wrestling, New Japan, whichever wrestling company presents the opportunity. That's where you'll see me end up.
And
but in the meantime, until that time happens, I'm going to continue kicking ass everywhere I go.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. I guess rewinding again, because at one point we had IWC alums, Britt Baker and Wardlow, who we compared you and Wardlow a little bit last time, come back and pick members of the IWC roster to go to AEW. Yourself, Cole Carter, Andrew Palace. There's been a shit ton of IWC alums on AEW Dark Elevation across the board now. I could name the roster. How did that feel when those two that you trained with come and say, you're going to Jacksonville?
And once again, Mark and everybody listening, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I didn't even know that I got picked for Dark until Wardlow and Britt announced it at the very, very end of the show, if you remember.
Yep.
I don't know if you were there.
Of course I was.
When it happened, I didn't really feel it. Obviously I was excited, but once again, I always knew that I would get on AEW Dark. I always knew it was only a matter of time, but I always knew that I would get there, just because I know I'm good enough and I know that I'm confident in my abilities. So when they did announce it, for me it was just another confirmation that I'm doing the wrestling the right way. What I'm doing is paying off, and bigger opportunities are coming. So And I also knew that, Britt and Wardlow were coming to the show. And I knew that, if actually the crazy story is, so since they were coming to the show, I told myself in my head, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do in this show. So to literally blow those two away to the point where when they leave that show, they're going to have to call Tony Khan and tell him, hey, you need to bring Spencer Slade down now. And lo and behold, that's exactly what I did. Because once again, Mark, I go back to the law of attraction. I'm huge on speaking things into existence. I'm going to say that one more time. Speaking things into existence. That's exactly what I do. I speak things to existence. I told myself that I would get to AEW, and I did. I got down there AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, and in the meantime, right now, if I think Tony Khan would make the best decision in his life if he would sign me. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, Mark. Once again, it was just something that I spoke into existence.
You answered the question perfectly, but I want to know one more thing of that. Was it just because, and I'm not saying this backhanded or anything, did it feel better? That's probably the wording I want to use. Did it feel better that it came from IWC alums, Wardlow and Britt, than maybe the Young Bucks or Billy Gunn or somebody like that?
Yeah, absolutely, because, I know Wardlow very well. I actually did not know Britt at all. I mean, I've never met her until that show on the 20th, but I definitely met and trained with Wardlow. So when it came from them, it felt really well because, Wardlow told me all the way back in September of 2019 that when he signed with AEW, AEW had asked him about me and that I was already on their radar. So I kind of knew that Wardlow was keeping his eye on me and doing whatever he could to help me out. He just needed to get a little bit of a pull and develop a name there in AEW to the point where, his word meant something. So coming from those two, yeah, I'm so glad it came from, Britt and Wardlow because, they know me pretty well. I mean, yeah, it would have been cool if, the Young Bucks would have called, but, they don't know me yet, because I'm still grinding to make a name for myself. I would much rather be down there making a name for myself than they know who I am versus the other way around. So I'm glad that, Wardlow and Britt were the two ones that made it happen.
Nice. That's what I wanted to hear. Hometown love.
No, absolutely. I said before and I'll say it again, that other wrestling company I went up to, New England All-Star Wrestling, that's a great wrestling company too. I think they're besides New England Wrestling, I really think that IWC is the best independent wrestling company in the world right now.
Hands down.
Obviously, national company. I really do.
I agree. Hands down. Let me tell you a quick story about finding IWC 10 years ago now. My buddies, John and a couple other guys, we saw that I believe it was Bret Hart or Roddy Piper or somebody was going to be at that night of Superstars. And we're like, holy shit. We went to see them. Okay. We went to see them. We won't pull punches. When we got there, we were more entertained than watching a WWE show at that time. We were like, holy shit. And everybody's accessible. Like everybody. Palace was the first one. Jimmy Nuts were right there. Shaking hands, kissing babies, meeting everybody, and that meant more. And we talked to somebody, they're like, you guys are just getting really into indie wrestling. We're like, yeah. We're like, well, you found the best one in the country. And I will wave IWC's flag until the day that I die, because look at everybody who's come through there. Even if it's been a cup of coffee, Adam Cole wanted to come to IWC when he was a free agent.
Exactly. And you see also, too, people want to come to IWC. You see that, I'll give you, for instance, Josh Alexander. He wants to come to IWC and defend the coveted Impact Wrestling X Division Championship against none other than myself. So people want to be a part of IWC because they know it's a great company. They know it has a lot of eyes on it, and they know it gives great publicity. And that's the awesome thing about indie wrestling. Unless if you're, Ric Flair's, son or your Triple H's daughter, you have to grind and make a name for yourself on the indies. That's just the way it is. And you should want to do that because you look at every single top star in wrestling, whether it's Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro. They all started wrestling in these flea markets in front of 20 people. When you get to the top of the wrestling business, you never forget those times when you work the indies because that's really where you perfect your craft and find out who you are. And that's the best thing about the indies. You get the fans to come, the fans get into it, they get to meet everybody. It's almost like a big giant, a traveling carnival almost. It's
Yeah.
the same fans, new fans. It's just, and I tell people all the time, people that know nothing about wrestling, have never been to a show, I tell them, if you come to a wrestling show, you're going to have the most fun you've ever had because there is nothing else like it. Even like going to like a punk rock indie concert. There is still nothing like going to a wrestling show.
I agree. I completely agree. I'm a huge supporter of baseball, but if I have to pick one between baseball and wrestling, I'm not a Tigers fan anymore. I love wrestling. It's so deep into my blood. So
I think wrestling is only going to get bigger and better from here on out because now you got AEW, now you got WWE, you got the other companies getting a little bit bigger. MLW is going to get bigger, ROH. I really believe that 2021, now that all the companies are returning on the road, I really think that 2021 and beyond is going to be the best years for wrestling, and I cannot wait to see what happens and where I ultimately end up.
Yeah, and we'll get there. We'll get there. As of right now, you're an AEW star. You've been on Dark. You've been on Elevation. You tagged with your most hated opponent, Cole Carter and Andrew Palace to take on the Dark Order. Talk about that match.
Yeah, so unfortunately I had to be put together with two people that I obviously don't like, Palace and Cole. But once again, AEW, they were paying us some money and told me to tag with them, and that's exactly what you saw. You saw the best wrestler in IWC, Spencer Slade, and then you saw the second and third best wrestlers in IWC, Cole Carter and Andrew Palace, coming together and tag teaming with me because they knew that would better help their careers. And you saw that. You saw the three IWC guys against Dark Order, and I think Cole Cabana put a tweet out saying Dark Order versus Pittsburgh. So that was pretty cool.
He did. So you worked with Dark Order, you worked with Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, and then you had your solo match against Hangman. All three, and nothing against Dark Order, but the other three that I just mentioned are legends in the business.
I know. Yep.
How was that?
Oh my God, Mark, that was an awesome experience. Christopher Daniels, I've watched since I was a kid, whether it was TNA, Ring of Honor, same thing with Frankie Kazarian. I watched him in TNA. I watched Hangman Adam Page when he started the Ring of Honor, and I always knew when I got into wrestling that I would, possibly wrestle guys like that one day because, once again, I'm confident and I know where I want to go in wrestling. So that was an awesome experience. I mean, I got to wrestle guys that have far more experience than me. So, I came out of both matches better than when I walked in.
Your Hangman match to me, no disrespect to the other ones because they were tag matches, but that Hangman match with you and Hangman, man, if there was a shimmering star, it was all over you. Everything, it was just golden. I love the match.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you know what? I might even speak this into existence. Who knows? But I think that the next time that Hangman and I get in the ring again, I think it's going to be some pure magic and gold. I think it's going to be one of the best matches people have ever seen versus the one that you saw. So you know me, I'm always going to stay ready, and if that opportunity comes again where it's Hangman and I, then I've already kind of know what he does. So I'll be better equipped to wrestle him again.
Yeah. A couple controversial things I want to talk about. If you want to call it controversial. One's funny, and two, Big Show Paul White actually mentioned at one point, and I don't know, you're open about it, but it enlightened the rest of the world that didn't listen to Can Crushers that you're deaf, a hearing disability. How did that make you feel? Did he ask you if he could say that?
No, which made the story even better, because I didn't even know that he said that until I went back and watched the match on YouTube when it premiered. I didn't even know that he said that, and I thought that was pretty cool, because that kind of gave people that don't know who I was before that kind of gave people an idea of who I am and what I'm about. And that's something, different that I have from, every other wrestler that's on a major company. So, for Big Show to say that, that must have been something that, that he thought that was important to get across for the audience. So I was incredibly thankful that he said those things.
Yeah. While you were there, besides everybody you worked with and or Britt and Wardlow, did you get to bend anybody's ear in the back? Did you get to talk to the Bucks or Omega or anybody like that?
Oh yeah, I got the. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many people I got to talk to. It was I got to talk to I got to talk to a lot of people. Some of the talk was just, hey, how you doing? Little stuff like that. I talked to Jericho for a couple seconds, Matt Hardy, all the guys. Christopher Daniels, he gave me some great advice. That was such a cool atmosphere, because when you're grinding on the indies and you're at that level now where you're the best on the indies, you have to want to be in a situation to where you're around a bunch of people that, have more experience than you. And that's why I've always wanted to be in that environment down there in AEW, where I'm around those kind of people, because once again, you learn from people that are better than you. And even though I have a hard time of admitting people that are better than me, but I can say, obviously Christopher Daniels and Jericho are better than me, because that's who they are. But once again, that's how you learn. And
right.
It was such a great atmosphere. It was so cool to be around people that, you watched as a kid, like Sting, Jericho, Matt Hardy, Jake the Snake, Christian. I was Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes. I mean, you name it. That was an awesome experience.
Two more things about AEW. One, because you're a human being as well, did you have a little bit of a mark out moment when maybe somebody came up and said, hey, Slade, that was a hell of a match? And who was it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, believe it or not, it was Goldust and Cody Rhodes.
Nice.
That was me. That was a mark out moment. I thought that was pretty cool. Those two guys, because they're legends in this business. Even Dean Malenko was thrilled too. So definitely. Oh yeah. I mean, when I walked into there for the first time and I saw all those guys, of course you're going to have that little fanboy Mark moment inside of you, but at the same time, being the competitor Spencer Slade is, all those guys there, are competition. I look at them as they're no better than me. They put on their underwear the same way I do every morning. They've been doing this longer and more consistent for me than I have. So, that's how I kind of go about AEW.
This is me just because I'm also just a fat guy at heart. How is Daly's Place really, and how's catering for AEW? Because I really haven't gotten to ask anybody.
Yeah, the Daly's Place is such a cool looking atmosphere. I mean, they pretty much have it made down there. You had the Jaguars Stadium right there, and then connected to it is that big amphitheater, which is Daly's Place. That's where they do all the wrestling, and then connected to that is the indoor Jaguars practice facility. So it's almost like a big giant Oreo. Daly's Place is in between. It was such a cool atmosphere. When you get there, you see all the security, you see all the big production trucks, I remember going to WWE shows as a kid and always seeing the cool trucks and production and tour buses. It was pretty cool walking around all that. Yeah, catering was pretty good too. I mean, they had some good food there. You know me, I'm a huge body and diet guy. I actually prepped and packed on all my meals with me, so it was nice. We got to our locker room was like a nice, cool trailer where it had like a refrigerator and microwave in. So, you know, Spencer Slade didn't miss a meal, so I was fueled up, ready to go.
Fear the gear, right?
Absolutely, and fear, and you know, that's the whole thing with fear the gear. A lot of people were asking me about that. You know, I tell them it's not a catchphrase; it's my life story. You know, it's the headgear protects my hearing aids, which I wear with such passion. And I fear the gear is, like I said, it's really who I am. So that's and a lot of people down there thought that was pretty cool. You know, you have John Cena has the "You Can't See Me" stuff like that. And I fear the gear is me. That's who Spencer Slade is.
So this is the next one. I was going to warn you about this, so if you really don't like it, I'll cut it out. But you're now considered an actor, okay? First off, do you like that moniker?
I do not. If I made my acting debut in like a movie series like that, yes, I would consider myself an actor. But as a wrestler, no, I do not consider myself an actor.
Good, because I hate that moniker that they put on you guys, because you guys are, if you want to say superstars, cool, but you're athletes. You're sports athletes. If there's a generic name, you're sports athletes to me, right?
Absolutely, and that's one thing that it just I don't like when, especially when bigger companies say that, because you know when they say it now everybody knows it. When you call somebody an actor or an entertainer, you've already exposed the business right there. You've already told people that no, this is not really a sport. These aren't really wrestlers, not really this is not really competition. These are just guys playing a part in a match. That's not what it is. So anytime that somebody says, you know, sports entertainment around me or about me, they can say what they want, but if they have my name in it, I say, no, I'm Spencer Slade, the wrestler. And I also hate when people ask me, oh, who do you like working with or stuff like that. I don't work with anybody. I wrestle people. That's one thing I take pride. Spencer Slade doesn't do choreographed stunt shows with his buddies. He gets in that ring and he kicks ass and he wrestles people. That's what I'm about.
I bring up that actor moniker because now you are officially on IMDb. Did you know that?
I did not even know that. How about that?
You are on IMDb since you're on AEW Dark and Elevation and stuff like that. It's essentially called a TV series. But I want to bring this one up because I want it debunked now. And I want it debunked because I know for a fact this is not true, and I need you to clear it before anybody else looks on IMDb and thinks you've done this, because it's horrible. So I'm bringing this to the table. If there's breaking news, it's this one. Spencer Slade, the name Spencer Slade, is linked to few adult films also in 2008 and 2010. You were not in them, and I don't know why they're linked to you. Please tell everybody that wasn't you, because you would have been really young.
Yeah, I don't even know where that even came from. I have no idea. First of all, I have no idea what IMDb is. I've never heard of that before. So when you told me that I made that website, I thought, oh, maybe that's just like a fan dirt sheet account or whatever. But when they when you said about the whole adult films, yeah, that's not even true. First of all, I'm 25. I would have been 15, 16 then. I don't even know where that even came from.
Right.
That's I got to figure out maybe how to get that, get that removed or whatever. That's not good publicity at all. So
no, that's why I brought it up.
I appreciate that so much. If anybody sees that on, just know that's got nothing to do with me. That's a typo, or that's whomever makes these accounts. That's something false. So, but then again, like I said, I know who I am. I don't let stuff like that affect me. But if that could get removed, that would be awesome.
Right, and that's I wanted to bring that to your head. All right, let's talk about this Saturday, and then there's another show I want to talk about as well. But this Saturday, you've made reference to it a few times. It is the main event for Wrestling at the Ballpark for IWC. It is yourself taking on the Impact X Division champion, Josh Alexander, who you even said wants to come back to IWC. Let's hear about this, because this is joking. This is headgear against headgear. This is two massive son of a bitches throwing it around in the ring. And this, if people aren't watching it on IWC Network for only $9.99, you're going to miss the match of the year.
Man, you just cut my own promo for me. I appreciate that, Mark. Anyways, this is what it's about right here. When you and once again, I talk about law of attraction, speaking things into existence. You know, I always knew that on the Indies, I would be at main events and getting big title matches just because, you know, I want to get to the top of the wrestling business. And in order to get to the top of the wrestling business, you have to be main event indie shows, big indie shows like IWC, and matches like this. This is the only way that you get your name out there. This is the only way that you become a somebody in the business. And Josh Alexander, in my opinion, this is just my humble opinion. I think right now in the wrestling business, currently, I think he is the best wrestler right now. I've known about Josh Alexander when I watched indie wrestling, when I started training to be a wrestler. He was actually a dream match. He was one of the guys that I wanted to wrestle so bad. And this Saturday in the main event, this is going to be IWC's biggest match ever. Myself versus Josh Alexander. And I just want people to know that this is going to be a match involving two competitors who look like grown adult men having a wrestling match or a brutal fight for the coveted Impact Wrestling Championship. This isn't going to be a choreographed stunt show involving two guys that look like, you know, middle school, grade school children. No, this is going to be a classic wrestling match. And it's funny is this is going to be, I think, the only wrestling match in history involving two guys going against each other that both wear headgear.
I think so too.
I don't think that has ever been on any other wrestling show. So I cannot wait for this match. I've had sleepless nights because, you know, this is, once again, Mark, you know, I think you know me pretty well over the interview. This is what I live for, man. The big matches like this, where you get the butterflies in your stomach, your heart's beating out of your chest, all the nervousness, all that buildup. You're going live and the biggest show in IWC history. Like I said, Mark, this is what I live for, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Saturday night.
Can I say that besides being in the ring with Kurt Angle, this is, as of right now, your dream match?
It is, absolutely, yes. It's my dream match as of right now. And what's crazy is tomorrow, which will be May 25th, marks exactly 2 years since I made my professional wrestling debut. Exactly 2 years since I've had my first ever wrestling match. And when I started my wrestling journey, I told myself that I wanted to be the best unsigned wrestler on the indies because you have to be the best in order to get signed. And fast forward, Mark, exactly 2 years later, a couple days later, I'm in the biggest match of my career for the Impact Wrestling Championship against the best wrestler in the world, Josh Alexander, who happens to be my dream opponent. I don't think you can write a perfect 2 years. I don't think you can. This is, once again, going back and speaking into existence. I always knew that when I started that I would be in situations like this. It just so happens that this Saturday it's going to be the biggest night of my life.
And that's with the pandemic thrown in too, folks. So take off legit 6 months. So you got a year and a half, rounding, a year and a half, and you're taking names.
Yeah, and the reason why I've been so successful in a year and a half is, you know, I think I said on your podcast before, but I'll reiterate again, you know, wrestling is my life.
Yep.
This is the only thing that I want to do. It's my passion. It's my purpose. My goal is to earn a full-time living doing this. So I dedicate my life to this. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. I do not have a life outside of wrestling. I don't have any friends. I don't have a social life. I don't have a girlfriend. Getting signed to a major wrestling company is my number one priority in life. And I have an opportunity here on Saturday night to prove that I am the best unsigned wrestler on the Indies. I'm going to prove that against Josh Alexander this Saturday at 7 p.m. live on the IWC Network. IWC presents their ballpark show, the Washington Wild Things. It's going to be a match that, you know, I think people are going to leave the building going, wow, I think I just witnessed the best wrestling match ever.
I can't disagree with that. One more thing on that match. Did you hear what I say? When you walk out of Washington Wild Things with that X Division championship, what will that mean to you with the lineage of that title?
You know what? That's a good question. When I walk out with that X Division title, I think I'm going to be the first person ever to not be signed to a major wrestling company and have their title belt. So that will be an extremely weird and interesting situation, because if Impact Wrestling wants their title back, well, I'm their champion. They got to for me to money or contract for me to appear on their TV show to defend their title. So it's going to be a very interesting situation here, Mark. All I know is that regardless of whatever happens on Saturday night, I'm going to walk in that match. I'm going to walk out that match better than I walked in. And at the end of the day, Mark, I can definitively and honestly, truthfully say that after this match, I will become somebody.
You will. Again, I'm waving the Spencer Slade flag. I always have. June 19th is another huge match for you. But before we get to that, you brought up his name, and it's 1 in 1A or 1A and 1B, however you look at it. Both yourself and big time Bill Collier has had amazing matches. We've waved Collier's flag saying he's the best unsigned. You're the best unsigned. He's got that Imagine championship from you. Let's talk about Bill a little bit about Imagine, because you guys, those are Imagine classics, without a doubt.
Absolutely, and anybody that knows me knows that I have all the respect in the world for big time Bill Collier. Besides me, I think he is the best unsigned wrestler as well. I don't know why he's not on a national television show making a shit ton of money wrestling, because that's where he should be. I've had the best matches of my career against big time Bill Collier, and what's funny is they all happened during the summer, and you know what? I cannot wait to get that Imagine Wrestling title back, because if you remember on the third match that we had ended in a no DQ. So I'm very curious to get my revenge back, or get my title shot back, because I'm still owed a rematch for when I lost the title to Bill the second time. So I think when that time happens, you're going to see a match that was even better than the previous 3 Slade Collier matches.
And no disrespect to either one of you, because I know big time Bill Collier is a fan of the show. I don't know how it can get any better. I don't, because you guys have literally brought down the goddamn house.
I hear you. And I think I said it right after I wrestled him. I said, you know, Big Bill and I, when we went out there and wrestled, you know, we had a real legit wrestling match. You know, people, it's what wrestling is. It's 2 larger-than-life guys, 2 professional athletes that look like men going into that ring and having a match for the coveted championship that's at stake. And that's exactly what Bill and I did, and I cannot wait to get back to Imagine Wrestling when I return on the 19th. And also, speaking of big-time Bill Collier, he's an IWC too, and he's got that Super Indie title belt as well.
Yes, he does.
That's something else I'd like to get my hands on too. So I'm not gonna promise anything, but I think down the line, I think there should be if Justin Plummer is listening, or if some people can push it, you need to tell Plummer to put Slade versus Collier on the IWC for the Super Indie title. I think that would be an awesome headliner as well.
We need to tell Jenny Plummer, because she's the one that actually runs IWC. Justin's just there, right?
You better tell Jenny Plummer that ASAP.
I just lost my train of thought real quick. But before you go through Bill Collier, to get back to Bill Collier, I mean, on the 19th, you have to take on somebody you know really well as well, though, Chris LaRusso, to get that spot back. Talk about that and you and LaRusso tangling it up.
Yes, I get to wrestle Chris LaRusso when I'm making my big return to Imagine Wrestling on July 19th. I'll be June 19th. I'll be wrestling my trainer / mentor, Chris LaRusso. Anybody that knows me knows that I owe everything to Chris. He's my trainer. He's the guy that trained me the right way. He's he's somebody that I go to all the time for advice. I love Chris, awesome guy, but when it's time to step in that ring, I'm going to kick his ass, because at the end of the day, he's just competition to me. So I think that's going to be an amazing number one contenders match for all the fans. So, June 19th, student versus teacher, Slade versus LaRusso. I can't wait for that.
I want you,
by the way, people don't realize the last time, and Chris knows, but the last time that Chris and I stepped in the ring is when I defeated him for the Imagine Wrestling World Heavyweight title, which was my first world championship one of my indie career. Back in, I believe it was October or November of 2019. I think I won it like 4 or 5 months after my debut of wrestling. So that was the last time that LaRusso and I clashed.
And you brought it up that he was your trainer, and I want you to give him dues, because he has, everybody's we've seen on AEW recently, he has had his hand on them as well. So Chris LaRusso, I will say, and I'm sure you'll back me, one of the best trainers in the business.
You know what? Absolutely. Chris is, I know Chris doesn't want me to say it, but he is so humble. Anytime that I've told him, man, I did well in a match because of your training, he always goes back to, no, you did well because of you. Chris has had a hand in so many people. I said it before, I don't know why he is not a coach at the Performance Center, or why Chris is not signed to a wrestling company now as a coach or producer, because he is so smart about wrestling.
Yeah, he's a genius.
That's a goal of mine too. Oh my gosh, genius. And that's a goal of mine too. I want to make it, my goal is to make it as big as I can in wrestling, so I can help out somebody like him, get him a job in the wrestling business, because he helped me so much. So I'm excited. I'm excited to wrestle Chris. I know it'll be such a great match for me.
This is years down the line. I don't even have this written down, but you just brought it up. When your career is over, do you want to start a wrestling school? Because I think you'd be a hell of a coach as well.
Absolutely. That's actually a long-term goal of mine. First of all, obviously the goal for me is I need to get signed to a major wrestling company and get a couple years of my couple years on national television under my belt, so then I can have enough money and be in a situation where when I do open a wrestling school, people are going to want to come every month, kind of like Seth Rollins' school. I love helping people out in wrestling, coaching wrestling, doing it all. Actually, and I said it before, my goal one day is to open my own gym and my own wrestling school together. That's going to be my ultimate goal. So when I'm home, off the road for a couple of days, I can go to the school and go to my own gym and work out and train with wrestling, because those are the only two things in my life that I enjoy, wrestling and working out. So that's definitely a goal of mine there, Mark.
Yeah. All right. Wrapping this up. What else is up for Spencer Slade? I know we talked about a couple gigs and, you returning to New England, but anything else locally or Are you going to California or anything like that?
Let me see here. Without spoiling too much out there, I will be doing some movie coming up soon in June. I'll be doing something for a movie film out in California. I can't talk too much about it. But in the meantime, I'll be wrestling for kicking ass in IWC. I'll be kicking ass in Imagine. I'll be making trips up to Boston, kicking ass up there, back down in Alabama whenever they whenever they want me to come back down. But in the meantime, I'm just going to continue striving to be the best wrestler that I can be. So the bigger companies will sign me sooner. Simple as that.
Boston's beautiful, isn't it? If I would move to a big city, I love Boston, by the way.
Oh my God, you're getting me. So my whole life's goal. I fell in love with Massachusetts and the Boston area this past weekend when I went up there. I have never been there in my life, yet I fell in love with it. I was actually the other day or yesterday reading about like best places to live up there.
Right.
My goal is to when I get signed to a major wrestling company, my goal is to either live and move up there to Boston, live up there and open a school up there, or I've always wanted to live and move in like a Scottsdale, Arizona area, somewhere where it's warm. Or hell, maybe have enough money to where I can have 2 houses there. But that's my goal. My goal is to get signed to a major wrestling company, move to one of those 2 areas, and just be the best wrestler that I can be, and just do my thing, travel the world, and be a role model. Anybody out there looks up to me. So that's Spencer Slade's life goal.
That is your life goal. Hey, just in case everybody forgot or is stupid, tell everybody where they can follow Spencer Slade on social media.
Absolutely. I'm very big on social media. I'm always posting content. That's the best way you can see what I'm up to. You can message me. I'll get back to you. You can follow me on Instagram at Slade Wrestling. You can follow me on Twitter at Slade Wrestler. And you can also follow me on Facebook as well at Spencer Slade. You can also go on my YouTube channel. All you got to do is type in Spencer Slade, and my YouTube channel will pop up. That is the best way to see what I'm up to.
And what kind of merch you can have Saturday that we can all spend?
You know what? I will actually have some T-shirts and a couple brand new 8x10 photos that I have from AEW that I will have with me. I do know that I believe it's after Memorial Day. I believe all the limits are lifted, meaning that we can go back to 100%. I don't know if we're allowed to physically. I don't know where we will be selling merch this weekend. I haven't heard anything about that, but I myself will have T-shirts and photos with me. And then I do believe that when we go back indoors to court time on the June 12th, Reloaded, I really think that we'll be going back to how we left off with full capacity, tables set up for merch, so everybody can get their merchandise. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Reloaded is my favorite IWC show of all time just because the wackiness of the night. But we'll talk more about IWC down the line on Reloaded because who knows? You might not be there. You might be an Impact with that X Division Championship.
You never know. You never know. This is. I think it only creates more mystique and more eyes on the product. So. Regardless of whatever happens on Saturday, just know that, Spencer Slade will be somebody after that match, and I think the fans are in for something special.
They sure are. Spencer, thank you for spending some time again tonight with us on Can Crushers, man. I can't wait to physically see you Saturday instead of just watching IWC on the damn network.
I can't wait, Mark. Saturday will be here before you know it, and it's going to be an awesome and fun night for everybody involved. So I appreciate you for bringing me on the podcast officially for a second time, and I had a blast talking to you, Mark. And I really, really appreciate you for all your support. And I will, no matter how far and big I make it in wrestling, I will never forget the love, support, and loyalty you showed me. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Spencer. I told you guys, it wasn't a heel turn. It's not a heel turn. He's just taking what he deserves. And I will always wave that flag because he is taking what he deserves. And he deserves everything for the amount of time and study and everything he does. He deserves to be and take over the freaking world. And he is. AEW, OVW, I thought it was Tennessee, it's Alabama. Now up in Boston. Guys, himself, Spencer Slade, the physical specimen, and big time Bill Collier, 1A and 1 or 1 and 1 or whatever, the two most deserving wrestlers on the air quotes indie circuit that should be signed, that should have been signed by far. I will wave that Spencer Slade flag because there's a connection. You heard it in the last time that I spoke with Spencer Slade. You hear it this time. We're there. We're there for each other. He dropped a little bit of breaking news as well, that I asked him if he's just going elsewhere to wrestle, and did he say he's going to be in a movie? Now we have to call him back up to ask this, or maybe I'll ask him Saturday. Guys, if you want to see this match, this coming Saturday, if you're not in Washington, Pennsylvania, which you'll still be able to get tickets if you're there, go see it in person. But if you're anywhere else in the world, go to the IWC network. Subscribe, $9.99 a month. 2-to-1 Media puts on a hell of a show. Jeremy and his crew is amazing at what they do. I hope you see the drone there. But they put on great content. You'll see amazing wrestling. But you're going to see, I'm telling you, I personally think this is going to be the match of the year. I really do. These two big behemoths, you hear us all the time on Can Crushers talk about we love big man wrestling. This is freaking big man wrestling. Josh Alexander and Spencer Slade going at it for the coveted X Division Championship that's been held by, look it up, people, you know. Come on, if you're a wrestling fan, you know what the X Division Championship means. I can't wait till Saturday. Guys, you know how we end this show, but IWC Network, $9.99 a month. That's how you're going to be able to watch this. So remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called the garbage can, not a garbage cannot.